Alright guys, welcome back to another What If Civilization Start Over episode. Last episode we saw the creation of the Star Alliance, or as I like to call them now, the Star Squad. We go to see a little bit of expansion by the Farmers Union, but not much. We see more exploration in the steppes of Central Asia, mainly concentrated by the Farmers Union, and they discovered this lake over here, and will set up a settlement over here, centered around this lake. This settlement is disconnected from the rest of the country for right now, but there is a current supply line going to this settlement. This settlement is only to continue the exploration east and are to meet up with East Asia, mainly Korea. And Korea is informed about this, that they would like to meet in the middle. So Korea sends out explorers to do this, and they will stop exploring right so far because they're kind of running out of money. Even though Vietnam is kind of supplying them, but is having trouble because of China controlling both straits, all straits leading to Korea, because the Square Alliance is not that friendly to the Star Alliance, the Star Squad. Greece is kind of iffy on all this. They're kind of discovering more of Italy, and they discover parts of Sicily. So far, they go down and discover Northern Africa, meaning Libya, and the Farmers Union is wanting more land this way, so they can help explore more this way, more in the south, into the south. So they settle all this land, even Cyprus, and they're taking more and more land, and they send out more explorers here, which some are having to turn back almost immediately because it's kind of hot here. And they discover the Israel and Palestine, or slash Palestine, which I'm not going to get into that debate. And they cross into modern day Egypt. And right now, there is no Suez Canal because we just discovered the region. They go over and meet up with the already discovered lands in Libya, and they start to discover more of Northern Africa, mainly sticking to the coast for now because we're still not used to the heat yet. So Africa is going to take a little while to discover and get people out too. But right now the Farmers Union is kind of taking more of this land to protect themselves, as they're putting it, from any outside invaders and settlers. In the last episode, I kind of hinted to possible major war happening at some point between two alliances, possibly all three. And I believe the only country that not got involved is um, Greece, because they're kind of anti-war at this point in time. But like road check, this is kind of like what we're looking at for the road at the moment. Greece is being kind of dormant. Oh. If I can select the right card, that would be great. There we go. They kind of expand upwards because their population is kind of is growing, you know. They finally settle the eastern shores of Italy, going down into the boot. Now to get bases and towns and cities here to continue exploring the area. They discover off Sicily, which is soon settled by Greece, which is kind of being funded by the Farmers Union, and Greece is thankful for this, and extremely thankful for it. And going back to the Farmers Union, who's still exploring the road, helping explore the road more and more. They finally go down and discover this lake, which will soon be linked up with this settlement in order to keep supply lines stable. And they explore more out into this region. They think there's a ton of land here, so they send out explorers to discover said land, so they don't have to worry that much. They finally connect up with the settlements over here, and the Farmers Union is definitely the world's largest country in currently and possibly in history and current history, and they're one of the most populated and one of the most richest and one of the highest rich and the richest country, and everybody believes they have the best military, even though it has not been used, and they probably don't want to use it, they don't have to use it, but they're probably going to have to use it depending on where this road goes. And there's kind of tensions building up on the road anyway. Going down to Oceania, Borneo was fully discovered during the Farmers Union's rampage expansion over in Central Asia. So, and Vietnam and China were kind of collaborating, and whether in two separate alliances, they were collaborating in this to help finish discovering the road. And I want to make the first claims and the expanded claims over Borneo is, if I tell where the camera is, Vietnam. I'm going to keep calling them Vietnam because their capital is in Vietnam. And they kind of expand rapidly. Next to follow is China, obviously. And their border grows even bigger. Not just up here where it was like a small border to defend. Now it's expanding down here. China even moves over here to this island and settles it. And they even settled in parts here. and they explore the rest of the island. It's a small island, so it makes sense. And China pushes to discover more and more islands over here in the Indonesian archipelago. At this point, they're getting kind of far from home, so they kind of have to stop. Singapore is exploring down here. One place they're going to hate to discover is Australia, because everything here, down here basically wants to kill you. Snakes, big spiders, everything. Even the desert wants to kill you. Going back to Africa, with the continued exploration of the northern coast goes pretty well at first. Pretty well for a while. And Greece helps discover Tunisia and over here with their ships, with their shipping. They even discover Sardinia and Corsica. They even discover more of Italy. At this point, if they move over here, if they colonize, settle more here, and like, let's say they get invaded by the Farmers Union or something, they can move their capital over here and basically become Rome, if they really wanted to. Actually, I don't know what year we would be in. I think at this point we would almost have Rome, if not ancient Egypt, which was before Rome, I believe. But we go back to the Farmers Union shenanigans of exploring. And they realize that there's almost nothing here for the most part, but more land equals more opportunity. So they continue expanding to get people out here. And currently, the current king or whatever of this, not king, but the current leaders of this union are very popular around the world, and therefore they're pulling a lot of people up here, up and over here. Wherever Crimea expands east to meet up with the border of this part of the Farmers Union, which they do so successfully. Then they split the Caucasus, and therefore the Caucasus are fully discovered, but quickly consumed by basically Ukraine and the Farmers Union. And the people in Kiev and Crimea are basically the same if not similar people, similar if not the same people from the Farmers Union. They have the same religion, same language, basically same everything, except they're broken like it's split between a border. To the point where Crimea is is tempted to ask the Farmers Union to annex them, just to make it easier for them to rule. Right, so they don't have to rule themselves. And everybody basically believes that the Farmers Union, with its size and might, has a very powerful military, which I'm going to give it, which I'm going to allow them to have the military, number one military, and the exploration of the Middle East goes swimmingly for the most part. These guys have been pretty dormant because they are scared of expanding and making the Farmers Union mad, because there are tensions between the two. And over here, more of this is explored. This is happening over months and years in this timeline for countries to get this big. And warning, no country is about to spawn. This kind of ugly, this kind of like highlighter green. And then get parts of China and Bangladesh to join them. And they just the border, you know. And this is kind of is majorly populated, or would be majorly populated, and the capital would be already up here because they're scared of getting invaded by like China and Bangladesh. So because they're scared of that, they join an alliance. And the alliance they are going to be joining will be the drama please, the Star Alliance. Yeah, the Star Alliance just gained a new member, and it's the newest country. And the Square Alliance is trying to bribe the Greeks to join them, but the Greeks are like, no, we are helped by the Star Alliance, being the Farmers Union, since that's the only border we share with. And it goes back wrong for the Square Alliance. They weren't able to gain a new member, unfortunately. Even though they wanted the new member. Because these guys are having trouble. And I don't know why I always keep giving the Orange team a hard time in this series. Comment down below what country is your favorite so far in the series. And let me know what you want me to see with this current world after this video. China will expand slightly to help compensate for the parts that left. So yeah, this is almost like China, but not China in this series. And China is kind of a slight superpower. I would give them like possibly number 2 or 3. Number 1 is definitely the Farmers Union, then a big gap to like the 2nd and 3rd spots to the number 2. Because this country is the Farmers Union is so vast, and the people are ever patriotic and like the country so much, and are very much loyal to the country, to the point where the entire country will defend the country. To the point where if the capital is lost, doesn't matter. The people will help defend it in a war, and the Farmers Union will continue to expand down here. Already going down to the red team, and they will take all of this land in order to do it. And they are scaring people to the point where the Orange team is tempted to go and join the Star Alliance in order to get more protection. And I guess they would get completely ran over and war. But they think that they would have a fighting chance in war, especially on the winning side of a possible war, to not get their butts whooped and get some of their land back. And Korea has ever been dormant. If I can select the right car, would expand a little along China. And they'll go around to Vladivostok in the east here, or a modern Vladivostok. And they discover Sakon and colonize it. I guess they take Sakon, but it's cold up here. So if you guys want to see more of this, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Au revoir.